Parth Prabhu, can you hear me?
Now can we can hear you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrithyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprahayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakinandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Give me 1 second, I think. Adjust backgrounds and its effect. Ay, ay, ay. This is right. Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16. Give me 1 second, I need to clear up things. Let me see what is shared. Stop sharing. Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16. Praise of King Pṛthu by the professional reciters. Maitreya Iti Bhruvanam Nrupatim Gayaka Munichoditaha Tushtuvustushtamanastas Tadvag Amrita Sevaya. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Pṛthu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleased the reciters very much. Then again, they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers as they have been instructed by the great sages. Nalam vayante mahimanuvarnane yo devavaryo vataratara mayayam venangajatasya cha paurashanite vachaspatinam api babhrumur diyaha. The reciters continued, Dear King, you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy you have descended to this earth. Therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through the body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activities of your lordship. अथाप्य उदारश्रवसः प्रतोर्हरे कलावतारस्य कथामृता धृता यतोपदेशं मुनिभिः प्रचोदिता श्राग्नानि कर्माणि वयं वितन्महि. Although we are unable to glorify you adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instructions received from the authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant. Dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all your activities are liberal and ever laudable. एषा धर्मभृतां श्रेष्ठो लोकं धर्मे अनुवर्तयन् गोप्ता च धर्मसेतूनां शाश्च तत्परिपन्थिनाम्. This king, Maharaja Pṛthu, is the best among those who are following religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and give those principles all protection. He will also be a great chastiser to the irreligious and atheistic. एषा वै लोकपालानां बिभर्त्येकस्तनुं तनोः काले काले यथा भागं लोकयोरुभयोर्हितं. This king alone in his own body will be able in due course of time to maintain all living entities and keep them in a pleasant condition by manifesting himself as different demigods to perform various departmental activities. Thus, he will maintain the upper planetary system by inducing the populace to perform Vedic sacrifices. In due course of time, he will also maintain this earthly planet by discharging proper rainfall. वसुकाल उपादत्ते काले चायं विमुञ्चति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु प्रतपन् सूर्यवद् विभुः. This king, Pṛthu, will be as powerful as the sun god, and just as the sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Pṛthu will distribute his mercy equally. Similarly, just as the sun god evaporates water for 8 months and during the rainy season returns it profusely, this king will also exact taxes from the citizens and return these monies in times of need. तितिक्षसक्रमं वैन्याम् उपर्याक्रमताम् अपि भूतानां करुणः सस्वद् आर्तानां क्षितिवृत्तिमान्. This king Pṛthu will be very, very kind to all citizens. Even though a poor person may trample over the king's head by violating the rules and regulations, the king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. As a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth itself. देवे वर्षति असौ देवो नरदेवा वपुर्हरिः कृच्छ्रप्राणाः प्रजा ह्ययशा रक्षिष्य रक्षिष्यति अंजसे द्रवम्. When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to the scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly king Indra. Thus, he will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. आप्यायतस्सौ लोकं वदनामृतमूर्तिना सानुरागावलोकेन विशदास्मिते चारुणा. This king, Pṛthu Maharaj, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like face, which is always smiling with great affection for the citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life. अव्यक्तवर्त्मैष निगूढकार्यो गम्भीरवेद उपगुप्तवित्तः अनन्तमाहात्म्य गुणैकधाम ऋतुः प्रचेता इव samvritatma. The reciters continued, no one will be able to understand the policies the king will follow. His activities will also be very confidential, and it will not be possible for anyone to know how he will make every activity successful. His treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. He will be the reservoir of unlimited glories and good qualities, and his position will be maintained and covered just as Varuna, the deity of seas, is covered all around by water. दुरासदो दुर्विसः आसन्नोऽपि विदूरवत् नैवाभिभवितुं शक्यो वेणार्य उत्थितो उत्थितो Arnalaha. King Pṛthu was born of the dead body of King Vena as fire is produced from Arani wood. Thus, King Pṛthu will always remain just like fire, and his enemies will not be able to approach him. Indeed, he will be unbearable to his enemies. For although staying very near him, they will never be able to approach him but will have to remain as if far away. No one will be able to overcome the strength of King Pṛthu. अन्तर्बहिश्च भूतानां पश्यन् कर्मणि चारणैः उदासीन अवाध्यक्षो वायुरात्मेव देहिनाम्. King Pṛthu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his system of espionage, and he himself will remain neutral, regarding all matters of glorification or vilification or paid to him. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all affairs. नादण्ड्यं दण्डयति येषो सुतमात्मा द्विषाम् अपि दण्डयति आत्मजम् अपि दण्ड्यं धर्मपते स्थितः. Since this king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. But if his own son is punishable, he will immediately punish him. अस्या प्रतिहतं चक्रं प्रथोरामान साचलात् वर्तते भगवान् अर्को यावत् तपति गोगणैः. Just as the sun god expands his shining rays up to the Arctic region without impedance, the influence of King Pṛthu will cover all tracts of land up to the Arctic region and will remain undisturbed as long as he lives. रञ्जयिष्यति यन्लोकम् अयम् आत्मा विचेष्टितैः हतामुम् आहुराजानं मनोराजनकैः प्रजाः. This king will please everyone by his practical activities, and all of his citizens will remain very satisfied. Because of this, the citizens will take great satisfaction in accepting him as their ruling king. दृढव्रतः सत्यसन्धो ब्रह्मण्यो वृद्धसेवकः शरण्यः सर्वभूतानां मानदो दीनवत्सलः. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahmanical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. मातृभक्तिः परः स्त्रीषु पत्न्याम् अर्ध इवात्मनः प्रजासु पितृवत् स्निग्धः किङ्करो ब्रह्मवादिनाम्. The king will respect all women as if they were his own mother, and he will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizens, and he will treat himself as the most obedient servants of the devotee who also preach the glories of the Lord. देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदां नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिर् असाधुषुः Asadushu. The king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasures of his friends. He will intimately associate with liberated persons, and he will be a chastising hand to all impious persons. अयं तु साक्षात् भगवान् स्त्री अदीश कूटस्थ आत्मा कलयावतीर्णः यस्मिन् अविद्यारचितं निरर्थकं पश्यन्ति नानात्वम् अपि प्रतीतम्. This king is the master of the three worlds, and he is directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is without change, and he is an incarnation of the Supreme known as Shakti Avesh Avatar. Being a liberated soul and completely learned, he sees all material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nescience. अयं भुवो मण्डलमोदयाद्रेर्गोप्तैकवीरो नरदेवनाथः आस्थाय जैत्रं रथमात्तचाप पर्यय पर्यस्यते दक्षिणतो यथार्कः. This king being uniquely powerful and heroic will have no competitor. He will travel around the globe on his victorious chariot, holding his invincible bow in his hand and appearing exactly like the sun, which rotates in its own orbit from the south. अस्मै नृपाला किल तत्र तत्र बलिं हरिष्यन्ति सलोकपालाः मंश्यन्त येषां स्त्रिय आदिराजं चक्रायुधं तद्यश उद्धरन्त्यः. When the king travels all over the world, other kings as well as the demigods will offer him all kinds of presentations. Their queens will also consider him the original king who carries in his hands the emblem of club and disc and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as the supreme personality of Godhead. अयं महीं गां दुदुहे धीराजः प्रजापतिर्वृत्तिकरः प्रजानां यो लीलयाद्रीन् स्वसरसा सरास कोट्या बिन्दं समां गाम् अकरोत् यतेन्द्र. This king, this protector of the citizens, is an extraordinary king and is equal to the Prajapati demigods. For the living facility of all citizens, he will milk the earth, which is like a cow. Not only that, but he will level the surface of the earth with the pointed ends of his bow, breaking all the hills exactly as King Indra, the heavenly king, breaks mountains with his powerful thunderbolt. विस्फूर्जयन् आजगमं धनु स्वयं यदा यदाचरत् क्षाम् अविश्यम् आजौ तदा नीलिल्युर्दिशे दिश्य असंतो लाङ्गूलम् उद्यम्य यथा मृगेन्द्रः. When the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Pṛthu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns and goats and bulls and is irresistible in battle, all demoniac rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. येषोऽश्वमेधान् शतम् आजहार सरस्वती प्रादुरभौ सरस्वती प्रादुरभावि यत्र आहार्षीद् यस्य हयं पुरन्दरः सतः क्रतुश्चरमे वर्तमाने. As the source of river Saraswati, this king will perform 100 sacrifices known as Ashwamedha. In the course of last sacrifice, the heavenly king Indra will steal the sacrificial horse. एष स्वसद्मोपवने समेत्यां सनत्कुमारं भगवन्तमेकम् आराध्य भक्त्या लभतामलतज् ज्ञानं यतो ब्रह्म param vidanti. This king Pṛthu will meet Sanak Kumara, one of the four Kumaras, in the garden of his palace compound. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्त इति विश्रुतविक्रमः श्रोतस्यात्मस्त्रिता गाताः पृथुः पृथुः पराक्रमण पराक्रमः. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Pṛthu come to be known to the people in general, King Pṛthu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. दिशो विजितप्रतिरूढचक्रः स्वतेजसोपातितं लोकशल्यः सुरासुरेन्द्रैरुपगीयमान महानुभावो भविता पतिर्भुवः. No one will be able to disobey the orders of Pṛthu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. Or at that time, both the Suras and Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Presents this chapter 16 from Canto 4, titled entitled Praise of King Pṛthu by the Professional Reciters. Hare Krishna. Okay. We have few minutes which we can, I mean, this chapter needs, yeah, 3 4 sessions actually. But yeah, let's understand at least a few points. We're talking chapter 16. There's all glorification. I mean, the purports are very nice, explaining the role of a king or a ruler. And in the first verse, in the purport, Prabhupada writes, we have to understand the incarnations of God by the instructions of authorized persons. As stated by, we cannot manufacture a god or by our own concoction. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru. One has to test all spiritual matters according to the instructions of saintly persons, scriptures, and the spiritual master. The spiritual master is one who follows the instruction of his predecessor, namely the sadhus or saintly persons. A bona fide spiritual master does not mention anything not mentioned in authorized scriptures. Ordinary people have to follow the instructions of sadhu. So here we can see the importance where King Pṛthu, yeah, here the word uses Muni Chodita indicates instructions received from the great sages. The glorification goes further. It is said, therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Why? Because you are Lord, you are expansion of the Lord. It is said, however, there is another meaning of Maya. In this verse, there is a mm, it is mentioned Mayaya. Yo Deva Varyo Avatara Mayaya. So, one meaning of Maya is illusion, but there is also another meaning of Maya, which is causeless mercy. There are two kinds of Maya, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Mahamaya is the expansion of Yoga Maya, and both these Mayas are different expansions of the Lord. Hmm. And by glorifying the Lord with exalted verses, one becomes purified. In fact, the Lord is also called Uttama Shloka. uh, Sahasranama, Uttama Shloka. These are the glorification. The Lord Himself is personification of such glorifications. So, by glorifying the Lord with exalted verses, one becomes purified. That is the purpose. It is not that we want to increase our dharana shakti, that how much can I remember, how much can I by heart. No, how much I can vomit with all those what I have mugged up. No, it is all a means of calling out from our heart, mm, through these wonderful, glorious verses, through His innumerable names. And although we are unable to offer prayers to the Lord in an adequate fashion, our duty is to make the attempt in order to purify ourselves. Huh? So it is not that we can say, hey, I'm not so qualified, I'm not so expert, yeah, I'm very illiterate, I'm not into, I don't know how to pronounce all these things. Uh, no, it is said one can always glorify the Lord in his own capacity. Only thing is when the heart, the bhava is developed, then the praising the Lord for what He has given, for what He is, comes automatically. If we are serious and sincere devotees, the Lord will give us the intelligence to offer prayers properly. This is what is mentioned in the purport too. Then we go, I mean, as I said, this whole chapter is full of valuable um, teachings, I would say, about a leader, how he should rule, how he should lead. It is said this King Maharaj Pṛthu is the best among those who are following religious principles. And in further it says, he will also be great chastiser to the irreligious and atheists. Ah, so in the purport it says, in Kali Yuga, democratic governments can be captured by Krishna conscious people. If this can be done, the general populace can be made very happy. So, of course, this doesn't mean that we want to create our own political party called ISKCON or called Hare Krishna movement or whatever. So, a revolution in the name of Hare Krishna movement itself is beyond all these limitations of establishing these political parties, becoming a government rulers, etc. But one who takes up the spirit of Krishna consciousness is establishing a right governance in the world, and then they are happy. That's what is the message. So um, yeah, as I said, there are too many points. But if you see in the sixth point, the purpose of tax are very nicely explained with a nice example. Just like how sunshine during the summer 8 months, or okay, we may say okay less than that, but this during this time, what does it do? Is it evaporates the water from every place, yeah, from everywhere, and then what is happening? It becomes heavy cloud, and then this water is then during the rainy season, yeah, returns it profusely. Similarly, the king who is extracting or exacting the taxes upon people and collecting taxes. Uh, a right king, what he should do is he should return these monies in times of need. So it's not that one is filling up his tijori or his treasure home or treasure store or treasure house. No, he should also understand this is after all not his money. All this money is for the welfare of his people. When the time comes due to lack of rains or droughts and all these things, then the king has to support his people in the best way. And in seventh one it is said, Titikshati Akrama Vainya. So the king will be very, very kind to all citizens, even though a poor person may trample over the king's head by violating the rules and regulations. The king, out of his mercy, will forget, uh, will be forgetful and forgiving. So here we can learn this quality. It's not so easy, but king is showing us as a role model how to lead, that as a protector of the world he will be as tolerant as earth itself. So three things, yeah: forgetfulness, forgiving, as well as um, forgetfulness, forgiving, and tolerance are the qualities of a true leader. Mm. One may have to understand, and of course it doesn't mean that okay he continues to be tolerant. Yeah, here we can see that when the time comes he punishes the people who are miscreant, or he teaches the people. It is King Indra, the heavenly planets, is in charge of distributing water over earth and other planetary system. uh, when such King Indra disturbs the sacrifice, then the king doesn't tolerate it, and yeah, even if he is such a great person, he attacks. So this is what we will see in the next chapter. So yeah, I'll pick main things. Let me see quickly. Otherwise, yeah, as I said, I'll get stuck at every verse. Since the king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. What does that mean is being impartial. Uh, so, and in sometimes it is that if the son does commit sin, the king punishes him quickly than a person. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. So if that is how the king is ruling. King Pṛthu was so neutral that if his own son were punishable, he would not hesitate to punish. But if a son of his enemy were innocent, he would not engage in such punishment at all. Hmm. So he doesn't be imposing. So anyway, all these are examples to show exemplary quality of a king. And um, in the verse 16 there is a word called vruddha sevaka. Hmm. Because king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth, he will be a lover of brahmanical culture and will render all service to old men. Now, what is old man? Vruddha sevaka means there are two kinds of old men. One is old by age and another is old by knowledge. In Sanskrit word indicates this Sanskrit word indicates that one can be older by advancement of knowledge. Huh? King Pṛthu was very respectful to Brahmanas and he protected them. He also protected persons advanced in age. Whenever the king would decide to do, no one would be able to stop him. That's why he is a Dridhabrata, or his Sankalpa, his resolution is strong, Dridha Sankalpa. Hmm? And same, he is very, very respectful to women, and he considers his wife as half of his himself. And I'll go the conclusions, yeah, whatever they were predicting. When the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Pṛthu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, then everything is under control. Everyone is shivering and scared. And mm, and he says further, what is the fact? What is the proof? He says, when uh, Pṛthu Maharaj is doing sacrifice on the bank of at the source of river Saraswati. 100 sacrifices known as Ashwamedha Yagya he will do. In the course of last sacrifice, because if one performs 100 sacrifices, then he is qualified to become the Indra, the king of heaven. So the Indra of that time, he will steal the sacrificial horse. And of course, the king is doing all this for not his own benefit. He is not interested to become king of heaven, but he wants that when such a yajnas are performed, the the land is fertile, and agriculture and cow farming, everything is nice. So that's why, for the welfare of people, he want to do. But Indra doesn't think so. Then King Pṛthu, yeah, after he sorts out with King Indra, and everything that we will read in coming days. Uh, Here we see that King Pṛthu will meet Sanaka, Sanat Kumara, and then he will hear from he will learn instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. And here in the purport, it is said, when one attains to the Brahman platform, he neither hankers nor laments. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kanshati. And then, although King Pṛthu was an incarnation of Vishnu, he nevertheless taught the people in his kingdom to take instructions from a spiritual master who represents the disciplic succession. Hmm. So, though he himself is king, nonetheless, he, as a role model, he was showing that one should take instructions from a spiritual master. That's why when Sanat Kumar comes in his palace, he is seeking instruction. In this verse, verb Vidanti is sometimes taken to mean understanding. Thus, when a person understands Brahman, everything he enjoys blissful life. And after, no one will be able to disobey the orders of Pṛthu. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the Suras and Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Hare Krishna. Yep, thank you. Thank you. Any thoughts from anyone before we close the day?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Uh, Thank you for reciting and explaining this glorification of Pṛthu Maharaj.
Yeah, I couldn't go into details at all. I feel very sad, but yeah, I think otherwise we will take many years to finish Bhagavatam. Somehow we have to skim through.
Yes, Prabhuji. Although Pṛthu Maharaj was an incarnation of the Lord himself, but this glorification is entirely justified. I mean, from my uh, personal remembrance, I can draw some similarities from the first canto when um, King Parikshit was about to born, and Kripacharya and other sages were similarly glorifying and predicting all this good thing. Parikshit Maharaj was devotee, and Pṛthu Maharaj is the
Yeah,
incarnation of Lord. So
yeah.
there is some
That also.
similarities.
Yeah, it says na the devotee will manifest the 24 qualities of the Lord. Of course, not in full capacity, but also, yeah, yeah. So it is just like a magnet and a magnet piece or iron piece. The magnet has already this naturally, and when the iron piece comes in contact for longer term, then what happens is the nature of this iron piece also becomes magnetic. So
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you,
nice.
Prabhuji.
Okay, then thank you very much for joining. We will meet tomorrow. Is Friday. Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow once again. पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna